Put your stuff down. Let me see your identification now.
I don't have
Put
any
everything down.
I don't have ID on me.
Take it from you. You need to get it.
Guys,
Back up. Away from us. You don't have the right to get in our face.
When you first heard about the Black Lives Matter movement that went viral a few years ago, how did you react? Now, imagine living in a small town where the color of your skin could determine how the law treats you. Even something as simple as driving down the highway could get you pulled over just because you look different. That's the reality in Lexington, Mississippi, a town of around 1,200 people where the majority is black. But its name hit national headlines not for its charm, but for what many believe to be systemic racism within local institutions. In 2022 and 2023, Lexington became the center of controversy after an audio recording surfaced of Lexington Police Chief Sam Dobbins.
Shot and killed in the line of duty 13 different people. You shot that nigga 119 times. Okay? I mean, I saved 67 kids, and the vehicle was shot 319 times. But he was hit 119 times by me.
The recording didn't just include racist slurs, but also revealed a shocking abuse of power, spoken out loud, without fear. But the story of Lexington being called the most racist town in Mississippi is much bigger than one police chief. It's a symbol of deep wounds that never fully healed and a system that continues to fail to protect everyone equally. So what is life really like in this town? Let's take a closer look. Lexington sits in the heart of Holmes County, once packed with cotton fields and black farm laborers. When the town was officially founded in 1836, black residents were already working sunup to sundown on the land owned by white families, paid very little, or often nothing at all. During the Civil Rights era in the 1960s, Lexington became part of the growing wave of resistance. But the town also witnessed a strong pushback from those desperate to maintain the status quo. Segregation was removed from the law, but not from practice. Even today, invisible lines still divide who holds power and who doesn't. In city buildings, the faces in high-ranking positions are still mostly white, even though the town's population is predominantly black. People here know that history. They live with it. Some can still point to buildings where injustice happened. Buildings that today look calm, quiet, untouched, as if nothing ever happened. Until one day, it all came to the surface in the form of leaked audio and video that exposed the racism many suspected, but now could hear for themselves. For many people, walking into a police station might feel unsettling. But in Lexington, stepping into the police department is a different kind of experience. You'll find a small, faded building with peeling paint and a weather-worn sign barely hanging above the entrance. But what makes this place truly intimidating isn't how it looks. It's the reputation it carries. Sam Dobbins, the now-fired police chief, may be gone, but he wasn't the only officer in that department. Another name frequently brought up is Scott Walters. In widely circulated videos,
Put your stuff down. Let me see your identification now.
I don't have any
Put
identification on
everything
me.
down.
I don't have ID
before I
on
take
me.
it from you. You need to get it.
he's seen shouting, threatening, and using racially charged slurs as if carrying on the legacy of his former boss. For many locals, it wasn't shocking. In fact, it was an open secret. Residents say things like that have been happening for years. Random traffic stops, unjustified citations, questionable arrests, and threats that never made it to official records. What Dobbins and Walters did might seem extreme, especially coming from law enforcement officers. But here's what makes it worse. It wasn't just personal bias. What emerged from their actions only strengthened the belief that institutional racism exists in Lexington's law enforcement. And worse, that it's been tolerated by the system itself.
Guys,
Back up away from us. You don't have the right to get in our face.
Living in Lexington often feels like being on high alert, especially if you're Black. Children grow up learning unwritten rules. Don't speak too loudly when a cop asks you a question. Don't stare too long. And never wear a hoodie outside at night. Not because they're criminals, but because they've heard the stories. Stories from their parents, their neighbors, and their own experiences. Stories where one wrong move could mean a night behind bars, or worse. One mother said she can't sleep well if her son isn't home by 9 p.m. Not because she's worried about drunk drivers or car accidents, but because she fears he might get pulled over and never make it home. Elsewhere, the sound of a police siren means help is on the way. But in Lexington, it often means the start of something terrifying. The injustice felt in Lexington's legal system is made even worse by the town's harsh social and economic conditions. The local economy relies mostly on manufacturing, retail, and healthcare, but the poverty rate is staggering, sitting at over 30%, and the median household income is just $39,375. Businesses in Lexington shut down early, not by choice, but because there aren't enough customers. Many houses go up for sale at low prices, but even then, nobody can afford to buy. People get by doing whatever they can. Fixing cars in backyard garages, running makeshift salons, or taking care of the elderly for cash. The schools lack even basic resources. The playgrounds are empty, and for many kids growing up here, dreams shrink a little more each year. Every so often, there's a story about a young Black child who died under mysterious circumstances. Stories that never seem to go away. But even in a place like Lexington, hope refuses to disappear. After the videos of Scott Walters went viral, something began to change. People started to push back, not just with outrage, but with action. Residents began to organize. They filed lawsuits. They reached out to civil rights organizations. They held community meetings, citizen forums, and even legal rights training sessions. Young people, especially young women, started leading local groups dedicated to documenting and exposing abuses by law enforcement. They weren't fearless, but they knew what would happen if they stayed silent, and that was even more terrifying. Even the local churches joined in. They opened their doors to become safe spaces for sharing stories, making plans, and keeping the flame of solidarity alive. And then, something rare happened. After months of organizing and speaking out, the U.S. Department of Justice stepped in. They announced a formal civil investigation into the city of Lexington and its police department, citing a possible pattern of unconstitutional conduct. Some might say, that only happens in Lexington. But the truth is, it doesn't. In Mississippi and in many parts of rural America, small towns hide similar stories. In places where the media rarely shines a light, where law enforcement goes unchecked, and where poor residents have no real options, abuse of power often grows unnoticed and unchallenged. Lexington just happened to be the one that got caught. But for every Lexington, there are many other towns still trapped in silence. Lexington isn't just a headline, it's a human story. A story about people forced to live under a system that legalizes inequality. This isn't a story about them, it's about us. It's about the values we claim to believe in: justice, equality, and protection under the law. If we let Lexington fade away, we're allowing oppression to survive. But if we talk about it, if we shed light on it, even by just watching this video, we're applying pressure, and pressure is the first step toward change. At the end of the day, Lexington, still often called the most racist town in Mississippi, isn't just about a couple of officers or a few viral clips. It's about a system that's been allowed to run unchecked for far too long in a small town where people were told to stay quiet. Maybe change won't come overnight, but when its people speak up, when their stories are heard, the wound is no longer hidden. Because every town, no matter how small, deserves justice. And every person, no matter the color of their skin, deserves to live without fear.